1045 The Team, your home for New York sports. A very interesting book is out right now. It is called The Booster, but I mean, there's more than one book named The Booster, so make sure you're getting the right one. It's how Ed Martin, the Fab Five, and the ballers from the hood exposed the hypocrisy of a billion-dollar industry. And on the phone with us right now is the author, Carl Martin. Now, Carl, this is about Ed Martin, your father. For anybody who's not aware, let us know what Ed Martin is both accused of and his relationship to the Michigan program.
So my father, Ed Martin, is accused of being the person, the individual who brought down the Michigan basketball program during and kind of after the Fab Five era due to his financial support of several of the players that participated during that time.
Now, Carl, just so you know, that Fab Five team changed my sports fandom. Like I fell in love with that team instantly, and you know, a pudgy white kid from upstate New York, all of a sudden I'm shooting hoops all the time, and I love that team being together. Does that team get together without your father's influence?
I would say it wouldn't, because my father lent great support to Chris Webber and also supported Jalen Rose, and because of their network and friendship, they collaborated to form the Fab Five. Without those two principal players, the other three great players may not have come there, number one, but they certainly wouldn't have been that cohesive unit that was later determined to be the best freshman class in college basketball history.
Now, Carl, use the word I got to jump on. You said supported Jalen Rose and Chris Webber. When you say support, is it financial support?
It absolutely was financial support. You know, and my father would, if he was here to talk to you, would make no bones about that. What he did was determine a need and try to fill that need. And yes, he placed it in athletes most of the time because he wanted to serve himself as well. And doing that, he wanted to see the people that he distributed his generosity upon become successful. And let me say that athletes, basketball players, etc., they have to exhibit discipline. They go to practice every day. They have to be hardworking, especially to excel in their sports. So he felt that he had an advantage in utilizing his support there as opposed to other places that could have also expressed the need for it.
Who knew that your father was supporting these players? Did the Michigan Athletic Department know this?
Yes, the Michigan Athletic Department knew. I will say one thing about the department. My father was an institution himself. What I mean by that is he did not take guidance from other people. These were his own determinations that led him to give and support these players in the way that he did. Excessively, some say, but that was his choice. The department, athletic department at Michigan, inquired with us about what was going on, but because of the illegal nature of the money that was being distributed, which was through a numbers operation, we determined that it was best not to speak to them and not to let them into our inner sanctum and then determine what they should do about it. That may have been a mistake because then they had no other choice, but I think to move forward with investigations and delving deeper into it, well, we might have been able to set the record straight if we did talk to them.
Carl Martin on the phone with us right now, 1045 The Team. The book is called The Booster. It's about the Fab Five. It's about his father, Ed Martin. Carl, there's a lot that happened. I mean, you're obviously an extremely loyal son. You spent time in federal prison because you wouldn't testify against your father for some things. Is this a raw, accurate, detailed book, or is this just strictly from your point of view?
Well, no, it's I'll tell you what it's based on. The reason The Booster was written is because in September 2002, Chris Webber took a podium in Sacramento and told a bold-faced lie. After that statement, my mother called me to her bedside days before she passed and made me promise to tell the full story, good, bad, and otherwise, to set the record straight about her husband, Ed Martin. And that's what we do in The Booster.
How do you think this is going to be embraced by Michigan basketball fans? Do you even care how Michigan feels about it? Because you're just out here telling the truth of what really happened.
You know, I certainly care about how they feel about it, and I care about what the public feels. But what I determined to do was give them the full set of information that was necessary to formulate their own opinions about what, I'll put it this way. What my father did can be looked at as generous and great for athletes and their families, et cetera, or it could be looked at as an abuse of his financial aptitude. But whatever the decision is that one comes to or the opinion that they formulate, let it be based on the truth and the real facts, and that's what we disclose in the booster.
Carl Martin with us right now. We appreciate you calling. So would it be fair to, obviously, your father can't answer for himself. Would it be fair to say he feels as though student athletes should be financially reimbursed?
I would say he definitely feels that they should be, but what he really feels is that they should be supported. If you take a kid out of an urban environment with that lacks support in a familial way, then why not support that kid on a higher level so then they feel comfortable in environments that they're being asked to exist in, which is major collegiate and universities, et cetera. You need to give that kid the best chance that they have at functioning and excelling in that environment and being the best athlete and person that they can be.
Carl Martin with us right now, 104.5 The Team. The book is called The Booster. It's about the Fab Five. It's about his father, Ed Martin. Now, one of the things that I find interesting in the story, and I can't wait to read the book, it always bothered me that, the one thing that really put a spotlight on your father's activities, and I'll admit, as a fan of Michigan, I'm not mad at the guy in any way, shape, or form, was Tractor Trailer is recruiting Mateen Cleaves. He gets in a car accident. Everything gets linked back to your dad because they visited him. Were you ever was there ever a party that was like, how did Mateen Cleaves not come to Michigan and go to Michigan State?
The answer to that is because of the rollover, the spotlight shone so bright on that situation of being outside of the allowed zone that a recruit can visit a university and must stay within. And it also became evident that something was going on because they determined that the player that the car belonged to, who was Maurice Taylor, maybe shouldn't have been able to have such a nice limited Ford Explorer at that point. So now Mateen Cleaves says, in order to avoid that negative light, I'll decide to matriculate at MSU as opposed to U of M. So really that accident changed the arc of college basketball history because obviously we know he went on to win national championships or won, and that was with MSU and not Michigan.
Is there one overwhelming message you hope everybody gets when they read the booster?
Yes, I want them to understand the condition of the athlete and the exploitation of the athlete. And then I want them to make a determination of whether they feel Ed Martin's generosity contributed to that exploitation or diminished the effects of it through his support and mentoring of these athletes.
Carl, man, we appreciate your time. The book is called The Booster, and it's an amazing story about the Fab Five. It's how Ed Martin and the Fab Five and the ballers from the hood exposed the hypocrisy of $1 billion industry. And we wish you best of luck selling this thing and getting the story out there. And thanks for taking some time.
Thanks a lot for having me, fellas. And I want to say that the book is available on thebooster.net as well as Amazon Books and some local stores, which wouldn't be in Albany's area yet, but soon to come. All right?
All right, man. We appreciate it. Best of luck, and thanks for sharing.
Thank you.